YouTube, back at you again with another video. So in this video, it's gonna be a little different. There's a lot of things that I'm gonna talk about in this video that I don't think, let me see. There's a lot of things I'm gonna talk about in this video that you don't have to do to your bike, but I'm gonna do to this bike. Primarily because I want to take this bike to the track and I needed to get as much air as possible so I can take as much performance out of the bike as I can. So on today's video, we're gonna be working on the intake. Getting air into the combustion chamber, as much air as we possibly can. So I've been doing a little research online and I've looked at some videos on the Ninja ZX6R 2018, 2019, none on the 2020, and I think I've seen 2 of them on the 2016. Today, and then also I'm gonna upgrade the air filter from that paper filter to a MWR racing filter. I put one of these on the CBR 650R and I did notice a very quick response on acceleration. Also, I'm gonna throw a link for the air filter in the description below. So if you want to get this for your bike, it's from the 09 to 18 ZX6R and also the 2019 and the 2020 ZX6R. The intake air box is pretty much the same, long story short. All right, so this is some of the things that it claims. The one thing that I like the most is it says here the air filter are continuously developed to improve track side with MWR support teams around the world. I think that's pretty cool. It says to help protect your engine, MR has specifically made biodegradable air filter oil. The MR filter oil is made in Holland and is completely biodegradable, not only protecting the environment but also your engine, either for heavy duty off-road usage or for long-term normal road race usage. Hell yeah. All right, so I'm gonna do a comparison to what the bike sounds like with the factory paper air filter and with the new air filter installed. So let me start the bike real quick, let you guys see what it sounds like. I don't like to rev the bike on cold, so I'm gonna let it warm up a little bit. Okay, the bike reached 10. So I'm gonna do a couple of revs so you guys can hear what it sounds like. Here's the first one. I'm gonna rev it to about 6 grand. All right, so let's turn the bike off. And the first thing you want to do, obviously, is disconnect the battery because we're going to do some work around the gas tank and everything, and I don't want any sparks. So let me just take off the seats. Well, I'm going to disconnect the battery and then I'll come back and I'll show you where I go from getting the gas tank off. To take off the fuel tank is to take these 2 bolts off. So let me take these 2 off, and then I'm going to take this. To take off these 2 bolts, it's a 5mm, and then to take this and this off, it's a 4mm. So let me knock these off real quick. To get the gas tank to move, let's take off this bolt. It's a 4mm, and then on this side, the same thing, that one, and then eventually I'll have to take this off, which is a 10mm, which is right here. But I want to get the gas tank lifted first. Oh, wait a minute. Gas tank can lift now. Oh, awesome. Okay, so I don't have to take anything else off. All right, so let me disconnect the gas lines. So let me see here. So I got to take this off, which are the return lines for the fuel, and then underneath I need to disconnect. There should be one switch. Well, obviously this clip Oh, and then here's the fuel pump here. fuel pump switch clip. So I'm gonna disconnect this, disconnect this, and then that fuel clip on the bottom, and I'll take the gas tank completely off and we'll focus on the intake filter or the air box. So now that we got the fuel tank off, man, look at all this space, dog. To get into the air box, I'm gonna need to take off, obviously, this sensor disconnected. There's some Phillips head screws. There's one in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. Disconnect the sensor, I'll have access to the air box. So now that we're at the air filter of the bike, I want you to notice a little bit of oil, air filter oil residue that's still behind. Okay, so let me explain a little bit better what I was trying to say. All right, so if you look at the opening, right, the opening is all the way to the very edge. So all of this is air flowing through the memory foam, the filter. If you look at this, the air should be all in this area, but it's not. So in reality, or in theory, you're getting less air with this filter, the Canon or the factory filter, than you are with the MWR. Which is why I think somebody told me on the CBR 650R, is there a performance increase? Yes. There is a performance increase when you do get the MWR air filters versus the K&N filters that look, I'm not saying this is a K&N filter, I'm saying that the style of this is like a K&N filter. So if you think about it, this grid is not actually across the top like this. This grid is on the inside. How you doing? All right, so I don't know where I last left off, but the one thing that I really want to drive home when it comes to this type of air filter is that if you look at the amount of opening that this air filter has, it's a lot less opening than the MWR air filter. Another thing too, I want to show you guys that in these, whenever I purchase these air filters, I also have a air filter cleaner and a air filter oil. If you look at this looks like it's actually too much oil, and what happens when you have too much oil is you get this residue that flings onto the snorkels and on the inside of the air box. But let me install the new air filter. I do want to get these short velocity stacks for the bike very soon. And the two that you want to change, actually all of them, because you want them to be at the height of my fingernail. So this one, I heard the 2009 is actually the shorter ones. Okay, so what I actually use to clean my air filter, same company I use for the chain lubrication and cleaning and whatnot, but this is the air oil, and then this is the cleaner. They actually come in a kit. I'll leave a link in the description below for the kit if you want to get the air cleaner and air oil, filter oil. But when you put too much, this is actually what happens. You get an overrun of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a lot of this oil out because I don't want this to do the same thing that that one did. It should face up when you install it. And then these guys should sit down and it should sit flush inside like that. That's how it's supposed to look. All right, YouTube. So now that I got the bike put back together, let me start the bike up to see what it sounds like with the new air filter installed. Have to prime the fuel pump a few times, only because I need to make sure that the fuel pressure is there when I start the bike. I don't really hear a difference, which is unfortunate, but I'm gonna let the bike feel some temperature, and then I'm gonna do a few quick revs just to see what it sounds like. All right, there's that second drop. The bike is at 10. Now let's give it some revs and see if there's any delays. So look, let me get close and watch. It's an immediate response. It's an immediate response based on before I would do the same throttle. It'll do like a click and then rev. Now it's immediate rev. Let's see what it sounds like at 6 grand. That's 6 grand, let's go to 8 grand. Before there was a ticking sound, now I don't hear a ticking sound at all. I think it's time to hit the road, fellas. What do you think? All right, so real quick, I want to thank you guys for watching this Ninja 636 ZX6R air filter upgrade of the MWR more air ram induction. I thank you guys for watching. I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.